What's up, everybody? Welcome to a podcast here with my brothers and I. I know a lot of people are excited about this one because we have a lot of questions. There's so many questions. But I want to introduce you to the people that are watching. You can see straight across from me is David. He's the lead vocals. And on my left in the maroon, I'm bad with colors. Red,
it's
something?
plum.
Plum? Okay,
Plum.
I like it. It's the plum shirt. That's Eric, right?
Hey, guys.
All right, cool. We've got Blake here as well, as you can see, but he's long in a distant land called Texas. So,
Wow.
Cool.
but yeah, this is exciting, man. I'm just going to dive in with my first question. And why don't you guys give us a brief history of how you guys got into music? I mean, because that's why we're here in the first place.
Yeah.
So would love to know more about you guys, like before we get into all the Gala stuff, and just kind of see what got you started. What was the passion? How would that look like?
Yeah, I mean, we are 3 out of the 4 of us really are brothers. So Eric and Scott and I mean, we grew up playing music. We grew up together. Our parents are both musical. Mom and dad both could sing. My dad was a choir teacher for 25 years at Parish Middle School here in Salem, born and raised. And then he was also a worship leader for many, many years, like 30 years. So yeah, we grew up in that family. And then Eric and Scott, me being the youngest, there's like 3.5 years between each of us. So Scott and Eric were kind of doing bands throughout high school. Jordan and Scott are best friends. They were doing bands, different rock bands, a lot of alternative and stuff like that. And I was just a kid, going to their concerts, enjoying it, living it up. And then kind of probably my senior year, Scott usually tells this story because it's from his perspective, but I'll tell it. But yes, my senior year, I had like a jazz choir night, a solo night. And Scott was there, and he had never really heard me in that setting of like a full-on solo, a full song to myself. And he always says, like, he saw that and he was like, oh my gosh, like we got to get David in the band.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, and Scott was doing college stuff at that time. So
thank you.
Thank you so much. So yeah, so that was kind of Scott. Scott came home for like Christmas for your Christmas concert away from college. And he was like, oh, David growing up.
Yep.
That type of a moment, where like you realize your little brother's not your little brother in a way.
Yeah. So then we kind of just went from there and formed this. Like I said, a lot of their previous iterations, like Jordan and Scott especially, there was a lot of maybe like true alternative. Whereas with our group, I think we've kind of more gone into the indie pop, a lot of more like singer-songwriter, more vocally driven.
Yeah.
And so I would say probably right in there is when we all started, and we started like actually writing music together and stuff like that. Because at that point, like I said, I was just a little brother who was going to their shows and just kind of hanging out. So yeah, I would say probably right around then, coming out of high school.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
And so then you just like who's the writer, or do you guys do it together? Or?
Honestly, all of us. Yeah. I would say, humbly speaking, I'm lead vocalist. I probably write most of the like melodies and like the lead lines, vocally speaking, and maybe slightly the majority of the lyrics. But it's definitely a group effort.
Well, the first song that we released was just on YouTube. Yeah. And it was on our friend's YouTube because he's a videographer and he had way more subscribers than we did. He had like 50-something thousand subscribers. So he was releasing it for my brothers and I, and we got a ton of views on that. But that was originally written by David in GarageBand back in the day, singing all the parts.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Before I could play piano.
Nice.
So David's kind of, that's true, where like if David feels strongly like this should be the bass line, he'll sing the part for us and like tune it down an octave to be like, oh, Eric, I think we should do something like this. And I'll be like, oh yeah, let's do that, but a little different. So
that's cool.
That's kind of how it works.
That's fun. I'm jealous of people that have a musical ability. I played saxophone for like 2 years, and that was not good. My son, though, he's playing guitar. He's doing really well, actually. We got a bunch of ukuleles too for Christmas in the family, and so we're all messing around with that. But it's I definitely admire the ability to put that stuff out and have the talent with it. So that's cool, and I like listening. I'm a listener. I can't do it myself. So
Yeah, that's fair.
We get some of our best advice from listeners, if I'm completely honest. Like we have a friend, his name's Byron.
Mhm.
He knows nothing. He's how old? He's older than us. But he'll say, especially our first album, he's like, these 2 songs are really good. He knows nothing about it.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, those were the 2 that would basically get like picked up for sync for like TV shows. He just has this thing. We have, like, I have a classical background, like I playing violin and then stand up bass and electric. And I think of it over rising standard of like which is technically the most impressive thing. But for listeners, they do not care. You know,
well, they want what they want to hear, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's like Rick Rubin, who he always says, he's like, I know what I like and I know what I don't like, and I trust my gut, and that music turns out to be popular music. And it's just like, you know, it really is.
Somebody
just
sent us a meme of that. My brother sent us a meme of that, Scott, the other day, and it was every person in a job interview after ChatGPT, and it was that clip of him being interviewed. Like, do you have any classical training? No. Do you want to play an instrument? No. Well, what do you do? I believe in what I like.
Yeah.
It's just so great. I love that clip. It's so good.
But it's true. It's true in many aspects, not just music, though, right? You like what you want. That's what you're gonna gravitate towards. And as a whole, as a community, we all have like this ability to where the community is gonna gravitate towards that same thing. So your buddy, who obviously is very centric in a community, will know. It's like you should just be like, hey, how's this song? Just as you start to go through it, be like, put your whole album together of hits, you know, just run it through.
That's kind of why music's so awesome too. I mean, it's you don't, it brings all of us together. I mean, you have these like crazy geniuses that are just ridiculous. Like I'm trying to think of course my brain's gonna fart, but
well, Ryan Tedder would be
Ryan Tedder.
You know, like our generation, Ryan Tedder was a big writing influence, even if you didn't know he was, or Pharrell Williams.
Pharrell. Yeah.
You know, I mean, even producers, Justin Timberlake and Timbaland, like that combination of writer producer. Yeah. Those types of people are so smart that I don't think they have to explain what they do. You know, they just kind of do it, and that's what's so exciting.
They get it. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Well, what do you guys where you're at now? Well, let's go the next direction. So that's you guys where you started, you know, and then how long ago was that? I don't know how you said high school is when you kind of got out.
So that's probably, I mean, at this time, I graduated in 2014. So now it was kind of like Eric said, we did like a video early on. So we didn't like just release an album right out of high school. It took a while. We kind of were like writing, finding out our sound.
Might have been early 2016.
Yeah,
when
probably
we were
like a
approached
couple years
by somebody who was like, "Hey, do you have a manager?" We're like, "No." It was probably around then.
So going on like 6 or 7 years, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when and how did you get introduced to Gala music?
Yeah. Well, it was Chris here who introduced us.
Chris is hiding off screen over here.
Chris Blackburn off screen.
There he is. That's the famous Chris.
Yeah, we were saying pre-show too, is like this is all very new to us. Like the Web3 space and crypto and NFTs very new. I mean, it's new to everyone.
Right.
But it was very foreign. And so I had honestly never heard of Gala, but we were both gamers, Eric and I at least, and we had you know, Chris was telling us kind of the backstory of Gala. Started with the games and had some pretty big success. I mean, they did some stuff with Epic and Fortnite, and so we were like, okay, like I play Fortnite, I do some dances on Fortnite, so we're like, this sounds pretty cool. And then we just, I mean, he put the bug in my ear. I started looking it up, kind of got us in contact with the people through the Discord, and we started talking. And so we've kind of been, our main contacts have been, I always just say everybody's real name, but Spider Queen is her Discord, and what's Keanu's?
See, earlier he asked me her actual name. I didn't even know one name.
Yeah.
And you know, like,
look, I live in the Discord
egos.
world.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm Fortune Crypto. He's Betty Orb.
Yeah.
This is Neuromancer.
Yes.
I mean, so I get it.
And that's what was funny too, is like the first person we got introduced to was Taco. And Taco, I was like, oh yeah, Chris Blackburn told me about it. He was like, who? I was like, oh, Necromancer. And he was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah.
Necromancer.
Maybe we should reintroduce. We should reintroduce with our Discord names.
You totally should.
So what's your David?
D Wergy,
and I'm E Wergy.
Yep.
D Wergy and E Wergy.
Yeah.
Because That's your last names are Wurgler. What is it?
Wurgler.
Wurgler.
Yeah, so it's like a nickname. We've always, I don't know why, we just people, I think
it was
sports. Yeah. Coaches
Yeah.
were like, I'm not going to call you Wurgler. So it just turned into
Yeah.
Wurgy.
Yeah, especially when they yell it. It's very German.
Oh yeah.
Too aggressive. So
Wurgler.
yeah.
Wurgler.
Yeah, exactly.
Wurgler.
You want to
Yeah.
reduce that as much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say we just got introduced and started chatting. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Since the beginning, talking with Taco, and then Spider Queen, it was just like clicking, and we loved the vibe. We loved kind of their vision. And I think it was, I mean, like everything they say, every time they have their big events, it's like, you know, they want to give some power back to artists. And there's been so many years of kind of some, what feels like upside down deals, whether it be with major labels or whatever,
Gatekeeping.
and gatekeeping and stuff like that. So I think seeing kind of Gala's like artist empowerment vibe, and like that's kind of their angle, in addition with kind of exploring the Web3 space, it was like, okay, like we can get into this.
And has that started to come to fruition, that the idea of what they were promising or talking about, is that there? Are you feeling that power?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because we've just done our first drop. We did our one drop. Fortunate enough that it was the fastest selling drop so far on Gala. Sorry, I keep saying it wrong too. I know it's embarrassing.
We have a
I gotta get that right.
Gala.
dialect. So
yeah, but it was, or at least that's what Spider Queen told us. So she could be lying, but she said it was the fastest drop, fastest selling drop. So yeah, I mean, right away, I was like, that's the best way you could start out in the space. Is
Works
just
great.
fastest seller. So
well, and I'm trying not to respond too quickly to you because I'm super excited about it, and I think it could come off as like shilling or whatever. But it blew my mind. She emailed us early on, like, this is a big deal.
That's great.
Because we, early on, you even have conversations, full transparency of like, hey, if it doesn't sell as well as you think, do you want to try to put out as many as we're trying? Do you have any flexibility on the cost? And we are not overconfident. We're trusting the powers that be to say, this is what we think the market's doing. We think there's some traction and some attractiveness around your product, and we think people will like you. And we're just believing that because we're new at this. But it blew my mind.
Yeah.
Long story short, I didn't understand the community around it, and I didn't understand the potential of just how much we could connect with people directly with no middleman.
Yeah.
And David was in Mexico for a wedding when it dropped.
Yeah.
And it was weird because usually when things drop, we're next to we're pretty close around each other when big things happen. And it was weird to have him so far away, but he posted something in the Discord about just thanking people for buying it at all. And people were saying, like, oh, enjoy your margarita, or, enjoy Mexico, whatever it would be. And then I immediately commented in Discord, like, I'm proud of you, bro. This is a big deal, have a margarita for me. And just to see the community be able to engage in a conversation that would usually only happen on our cell phones, like between us privately. It's a space, I guess, long story short, it's a space where I feel like we can congratulate each other and also other artists.
Yeah.
While also being successful. Whereas at first it used to feel like there's this thing in the back of your head of like, I hope they don't do well, because then that means something's being taken from me. And on this platform, it does not feel like that. But every single person that drops something, you see support. And at least for us, it was backed up with good sales and real money in our pocket. And that's a big freaking deal for us.
So expand on that a little bit, because you're talking about the middleman, the real money in your pocket. Like that's for. So when they announced Gala Music and I first heard about it, I was excited, right? I'm like, okay, yeah, this is another feature that Web3 can really help take out the middleman, make sure that the artist is going to get, what they deserve, and not have to have 16 different people that are doing who knows what to be able to get that music to the listener, me, right? And so how kind of give me that rundown, like tell me what is that's different there.
I won't give numbers, but I could give a really good example of how big of a deal it is, at least for our group with where we're at.
No, that's perfect.
Is the amount that we were able to raise off of people's generosity of supporting the project, thinking the NFTs are worth it, and thinking that we're worth the investment, which means that alone means a lot. We probably made as much as we would make if a private college hired us and flew us out to play a 1-hour show and interact with just like a private show where we don't get to sell tickets. Like they're paying us just to do that.
Right.
Which is kind of a big deal. We probably made about that with just one NFT release.
Nice.
And that's a big deal. There's no middleman. We can release like private showings to people with the NFT or whatever, whatever we're going to do to thank them.
store.
Right.
Like there's
we'll expand on that in a minute.
Yeah.
A lot of questions there. So,
but for me, at least the analytical side, which is where my mind goes and maybe why I ramble so much is it's really cool to see the effort go in and finally the reward is reciprocated. Whereas it feels like David said earlier, like we're on this rat race of trying to make enough so that the people in the middle can take their cut. And we also feel like that's always the asterisk.
Yeah.
So we also feel like we're getting paid for our time. That's usually how the conversation goes. But with this, just the one NFT project that we did, and we have a couple more coming up with you guys, for me, it was worth it. Like time in, reward, connectivity with fans, which is a big part of it. I mean, maybe one of the best things we've done so far.
I would say too, that's kind of a big part of it is we've been together now for 6-7 years, and we were on an indie label out of Portland for pretty much the entire first 5 years or so. Because that was
3 album cycles, I think.
3 album cycles.
Yeah.
One of them was an EP, but yeah, three album cycles. And none of this is to bash on that or bash on the label or anything like that, because it was definitely, I mean, the indie label was a better experience probably than some of the splits like we were talking about that you get on a major label in terms of finances. But even just in this like month that we've been doing this and then had our one single drop, it almost feels like basically piggyback on everything Eric just said. Like it's like filled up our cup. Just even as artists, not just finances, not just money, but like as people and that community he's talking about, almost more in just like a month than we got that whole time like before this. And so I think it is super exciting because it's like, okay, we literally just started this and it feels like there's like the arrows going up and there's room to grow here and this community is awesome. And it's like, it is mind blowing.
Well,
it really is.
It turned in our private group text. It turned in very quickly. It turned from let's try this and do some of these other things on the side and see which one works to let's cancel all those other things we were going to spend time in and focus on this.
Yeah.
Honest to God, that's kind of what it's turned into.
Nice.
So we're excited to keep things moving. And
so when's the next drop?
Yeah, we're
planning the next recording of it right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that was, I guess I don't know how much we're like allowed to say with our private conversations with Spider Queen, but
we're asking her advice.
No, you can say anything you want. It's fine.
She's guiding us a lot. She's guiding us a lot.
She'll get us in trouble later, I guess.
Yeah.
But honestly, we can. I just want to say it because it's fun. It's exciting. But like it's already not gone how we thought it would go. I guess like Eric just said, like we thought in a good way.
Yeah.
Because we were like, okay, yeah, we'll just kind of do some of the songs we've already released on Spotify and Apple Music, like. Just the easiest route, quote unquote, for us.
Right.
But then right away, we do this kind of live session thing for our song Didn't See It Coming, which originally that acoustic was like, we're just going to do a cool video and have that release alongside just the NFT for our basic pre-recorded. We already released this song 3 years ago. Like that was the original plan. And then Spider Queen loved it so much. She shows it to... I don't remember his name, but the somebody higher up, who matters? I can't remember his name.
You know who you are.
You know who you are. And he loved it. And he was like, that's it. Like, I want more of that. And I want exclusive stuff that isn't just your pre-recorded stuff. Like, we want to make you a priority. We want to elevate you guys. And to have that happen before we had even dropped anything, like we were just sending this video as like, hey, is this content good? Because we think this could be cool on our fan store, kind of like as something for people who do invest in this NFT. And they were like, no, like that's it, like that's the song. And so this acoustic version ended up being the NFT, which was not our original plan.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of like, okay, shoot, like this really changes how we're thinking about this.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, what could we, maybe we should do some remixes that have never been released before. Maybe we should do some acoustic, like DJ remixes, not just acoustic. And so, yeah, it's really changed how we're looking at it.
There's a ton of stuff, man. There's so much cool stuff you can do. Yeah.
And so I think, and then we're also writing too. So we've actually just finished one of our songs, just got mastered. And so that kind of spitballing with ideas like that too, like where do we want to go with it? So we don't really know yet, but we know we have phone calls planned with people and video conferences and kind of keep the ball rolling, keep the momentum going.
Definitely.
Yeah.
This is exciting, man. I just see the excitement on your guys' face. Like you can just see it. Just like
again, I'm trying not to like. I've seen videos like it.
It's good, man.
It's fun. Yeah. And again, like we raised money through this platform, but we are not, just so everybody knows, like we're not sponsored, we're not paid. We are a small band,
no longer on that label,
literally independent,
fully independent.
We're just trying to raise money and connect with more fans.
Yeah.
And this is a surprisingly like engaging and profitable opportunity for us personally in our situation.
Mm-hmm.
We have all been surprised by it in a really good way. And I hope it empowers people to try. And that's the biggest thing is like,
right.
Just try a bunch of things. It's kind of like investing. Like you should invest in a lot of different things probably.
Mm-hmm.
Don't write some certain things out. And that's what I'm telling bands, if you're listening, or artists or whatever, is I don't think it hurts to try.
Yeah.
And if anything, we're learning so much too, just about how to connect with people digitally, because we're very good with this.
Yeah.
We don't like social media that much. We really, because we don't, maybe it's because we don't like, it feels like bragging. Not that we're amazing, but we're not.
We struggle with it. It doesn't come naturally.
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't come naturally.
Even just, and again, it's not a judgment on anyone who it does come naturally to.
Yeah.
But that hasn't, just like posting a video of me singing once a day, a cover or whatever it is, that's just never come naturally. Like that kind of TikTok trend of just like people singing into a phone.
Look, I don't think it's a natural thing. I'm not.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not.
No,
this is just something that we put together because we have fun doing it. And we were just talking today because I don't follow like how many followers I have or anything like that. And I'm like, and what did I say on Twitter? I was like, I
you got up to like 600 or something.
I'm like, I'm at like 600. I'm like, is that a big deal? I don't even know. So it's like, I don't know.
Financial part's great. Like David's saying, it's the connectivity, but as a band, it's been cool because we learned from the community.
Yeah.
Like these are ways you can digitally connect with people. And this is the type of like exclusive content people want. That for me is super valuable too.
There's so much to that and so much ability that's there.
Because we want to please people. Like we don't.
Yeah.
When we post, it's not really about us. We want people to enjoy what they do. So when we're in Discord or we see people on Discord or in the community doing stuff, it's really fun to just connect in that
That's
way.
what music does, right? Music, makes people happy, enjoy it. It brings out emotions. And so being able to do that, not just with your music, but other things with the fans probably is very beneficial on the emotional side. Like you said, it's filling your cup up, right?
Yep.
You're able to like do more and get excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I got some questions on like the back end side. Like there's all sorts of crazy things going on the back end. We got beams now, right?
Yeah.
And then we can hold those beams against our favorite artists, right? So I've been trying to be the number one between Black Harp, which is the company Chris and I own, and my Forged in Crypto, right? But unfortunately, I don't have enough beams because I've been trying to. Between the two of them, we're not quite there.
You need more beams.
I know, Chris. Buy more nodes. So between the two of them, we're at like 70. What is it? 7,500. So we're number 3. We're close. But this is growing, man. Like last time I looked, got a few more people holding up into it. So
it's awesome.
What does that mean? Like, what do you know on your end for you? What does the beams mean on your side?
That's a great question to ask. Experts in this.
Yikes.
I think
not a lot.
For us, it's about movement and interest.
Yeah.
And, this might be a weird comparison, and then I'll stop talking. But it's like probably like when a comedian is trying out a new set or something.
Okay.
and they're getting good responses from the crowd. They're like, all right, we're going to keep this in our back pocket. That's kind of how I feel about it, is like when we see these numbers,
Yeah.
it gives us a good sense of like our boat is in the right direction and we should keep going this way. That type of a feeling. That's just my
is it going to help you guys monetarily? Like, do you guys get any, obviously with plays, there's going to be some sort of distribution, I'm assuming, to you guys as well.
Yeah.
Is that on a 50-50? How does that work?
The splits, I guess. Yeah, I guess we signed stuff. I don't know. Who knows?
That's a
whatever.
Scott. That's a Scott
we'll
question.
get spanked later if we need to.
Yeah.
But it's in terms of the NFT, the beams, I'm not entirely sure, but in terms of the NFT, 70-30 in our favor. So that was like,
okay,
that's awesome. Like that's
and then
not normal.
So 70-30, 70 going to you, 30 going to Gala.
Yeah.
And then and then we, like David said earlier, we write, and especially the recording that we released with you guys, it's basically owned by us. So there's no
right.
If again, if there's any independent artists out there, those types of smaller things, along with
right,
partaking in ventures like this, I think these small things start to add up.
And then I think there's a smaller percentage of like secondary sales too. So stuff like that. Like it's not just like a one time.
So if that NFT gets transferred to somebody else, there's always a
creator fee.
Yeah.
Which Gala has it set at 10%. You get a portion of that as well.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And then, I know we do, but
you just don't know what the price is.
Yeah. And then I think there's part of the money raised that I think we're setting aside to like thank those who are participating.
Okay.
And to re-engage with those who hold the key, so to speak.
Right.
So we're Spider Queen's helping us figure out like what we should do, next steps, things like that, because we're still new to the community.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I think
because when you look at like access pools, right? So for me on the community side, right, this is access pools like benefits, right? Exclusive Discord access and artist content.
Yeah. And that's the part.
So the artist content, that's what we're working on,
right?
Because I think, like we said, we're
behind the game because we're caught off guard.
Yeah, we did not expect this to go so well, and so now, like you said, we got some video chats ready to rock and figure out like. I think honestly too, we feel really confident despite being caught off guard. Like that's the weird part too, is we're not like scared or like, oh crap, are we gonna be able to do this? Are we gonna be able to, give people that content? Because we want to. We want people to, we want it to feel worth it to invest in us, obviously. And so I feel really good in everybody's hands that we've talked to at Gala too, is Keanu and Audra have been like so good to us and so good at just kind of guiding us along the way, but also just seem really passionate themselves. Like having people in your corner like that they barely even know us, and they just have that energy of like they want to see you succeed. They want to see anybody they talk to succeed. They want all of the artists that they're working with to succeed. And so I feel like them having a better grasp than us, I guess, in terms of like the nitty gritty details of what's going on here, and then us kind of just being us and doing what we do and do music stuff, and then just coming together and figuring out like what works, what could we do. And that's been really fun. And some of the conversations we've had with her is like, hey, here's what I did with some other artists. Like, does this work for you? Do you think something like that could work for you? Or she's just had some really cool stories of things that she's kind of spitballed with other people, and kind of how we could turn that into us and how it works with us. And I think that's been really cool, is like they don't want us to be something we're not. And I think that's been really encouraging too, is sometimes you get into these major label things and it's like there's a lot of direction. I mean, that actually happened with us in even just a small indie label. So I can't imagine what it would be like on a really, really large label. We couldn't release one of our songs at the tail end of our deal because our label said no. And we thought it was our best song. And he said no. And so
what did your friend think? Because he knows.
He loved it.
Okay.
And that was, So
Byron, was his name Byron?
Shout out Byron.
Man.
Shout out Byron.
I remembered that.
So we, going from an experience like that to now this, like, hey, all we want to do is enhance who you guys are. We don't want to detract from that. We're not going to give you guardrails. Like, who are you? And let's make your fan store reflect that, because it isn't just about the music. It's about who you are. So it wasn't just like, what do you play or who writes what? It was also like, what are your hobbies? Like, could we get some fan experiences that are around playing sports because you guys like to play sports, or around video games because you like to play video games? Like,
how's your relationship with your mom? We're
Yeah.
like, whoa, we're not. Let's not go there. How
Am I
does that
laying down on a
pertain?
couch now? What am I doing?
What's
here?
your
What's going
social
on?
security number? Whoa, Spider Queen.
So I think it's just been really just, I don't know. Every conversation we've had with them has been amazing, and it's exciting.
That's good to hear, man. I love that.
Yeah.
So you have a Discord now. You're saying you have a Discord now.
Mm-hmm.
How do I get access to that Discord?
Oh, our personal
so-
Discord.
Oh, is that your personal? This isn't
We
the
have our
this
own
isn't the
accounts.
NFT
So I
Discord
got-
yet.
Not
No.
yet.
Okay.
I got inspired by this, and I have a friend who's a basketball coach who likes marketing, and he's no longer, basketball season's over. I just started a Discord for the band that is technically public, and there's certain
Yeah.
channels that are just for staff.
Yep.
And they're me and my friend, because we're sharing marketing ideas or what should we do on Gala next, things like that. We don't have any mods yet. We don't really have any followers yet because I haven't told anybody.
Yeah, we
Gotcha.
haven't-
This
yeah.
isn't even me announcing
The
it.
groundwork has been
'cause
laid.
I don't even know what I've never run a page like that before.
There's 5 people listening right now.
Okay.
There.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So, it was one of those things where, like, I stole rules from somebody else's Discord,
Yeah.
but, like, don't be dumb.
That's all it is.
Oh
Don't
yeah.
share your social security number.
You just copy.
Copy and paste.
Quite
and-
literally.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
ChatGPT wrote half the content that's on there. and, you
It
know,
writes our songs.
and yeah.
That's funny.
Photoshopped our photos so we look like we have big muscles,
So basically, you're using Midjourney and ChatGPT. I hear. Okay.
Exactly.
Perfect.
basically. Yeah. So the Discord thing's still super young.
Yeah.
So I'm still figuring that out.
That's cool.
But we're privately on the Discord within the staff pages. We are sharing ideas of, like, this is what's working on the platform. This is what we should be doing. Hey, Kings of Leon, there's this random thing that showed up. What do we think that means? Like, all these rumors flying around of, like, should we do a cover? Should we, to try to get their attention? Should we, somebody's rolling through town that's big that we like, should we be covering their song? So there's a lot of conversations like that happening behind the scenes. So
yeah.
So with your guys's so your track that you have on here, are you guys contractually obligated to stay on the Gala platform? Being in the Web3 universe, right? It's the idea of not your keys, not your coins. An NFT is yours. You can do what you want with it. You've had a great experience, so I'm not expecting you to do anything else with it. But there are other platforms that are doing some similar stuff, not as involved as Gala is. They're more that decentralized aspect of it. Are you able to post or put your songs onto there to get more reach into that same audience?
Yeah. Do you mean specifically like with
NFTs.
Web3 stuff, or do you mean like
Web3
can we release
stuff.
our song onto Spotify?
both probably. So NFTs is just through
Just Gala. Yep.
Yeah.
We're just
the music is different. We've thrown around ideas of, like,
what's a release going to look like?
We have a new song we just mastered, and we're throwing around ideas like the technicalities, the legal aspect of, like, well, could we release it on Gala first for a couple months before it even goes to Spotify, which is something that we've never uttered out loud, because originally it's Spotify first, and then we'll figure everything else out. But this has kind of flipped it on its head of, like, how can we reward people? It's not just about money in that sense. It's like we want people who like us to also feel like they're getting something nobody else is getting.
100%.
Right. Oh
So
yeah, for sure.
We're starting to think in that way of even songs we just mastered a song that we are excited about. But so music, it's not exclusive. NFT is exclusive, and that should be obvious for value reasons. Like, you're not going to see the NFT pop up somewhere else. So
Except for maybe on a t-shirt.
except for maybe on a
I
t-shirt.
like the design.
I do like it too.
An NFT on a t-shirt, huh?
Yeah.
Well, like the
NFT
logo.
shirt.
An NFT shirt. I like it.
Ooh, yeah.
You're welcome.
We're in.
Trademark.
Some stickers.
Dude, I do too. Yeah, we got the that was from Scott's wife, our older brother who's a drummer. His wife did it, and it was cool. We've never done something like that. It's most of our stuff is photography, so I really like the artwork she did for it.
Yeah.
Let me get this up here so maybe we can see. Maybe there's some questions. We got comments. I've been so busy talking to you guys. I haven't not.
Hi guys.
Yeah, we got people.
Guys and girls, thanks for tuning in.
There's a few of them.
Are we in trouble?
You're not in trouble at all. Nobody.
Okay.
But let's see. Let's got some questions. Obviously, question number 1 was answered. Do you feel like you got a better deal with Gala instead of a traditional way? You've answered that in full for sure.
Yeah.
You kind of answered the beams thing, but that's still kind of a
we're new to
we're all new here,
Exactly.
right? Kind of going that way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you really kind of the onboarding process you really didn't talk about. You more talked about like your experience was really great, but
yeah,
and I guess you did. It was non-traditional, as in, you know, it's the DMs, it's the connections that get you to the certain spot instead of your managers guiding you through everything that goes through, and you don't know what's happening. It's just all of a sudden you have this gig.
Yes,
I've talked a lot, and I'll let you talk.
Yeah,
but
yeah, come on.
My last time, he's the lead singer. I know it sounds like I am, but the one thing I will say in regards to the onboarding process is, you know, I said earlier, try things. It doesn't hurt. People should still make sure they read what they're given.
Yeah,
they have somebody else look at it. And make sure that when you're onboarding, you feel like you have the right person. We, I think, are blessed and lucky to feel like off the bat, we have two people that are awesome and they understand what we're doing and they're listening to us. So for us, it's been amazing.
Yeah.
If anybody's listening and taking advice as if we're geniuses, we're not geniuses. We're just saying, you know, read everything yourself, make sure that you know, trust your gut on a lot of these things.
Yeah.
But so far it's been really good and it's treated us well. And again, the proof in the pudding was the first drop.
Yeah.
And everything went smoothly. It went better than we thought. Our team was,
even with the like chaos of thinking, we like literally the weekend before the drop, we like had our plan set. We're, like I said, we're releasing that song, the NFT with the Didn't See It Coming, which was an already released song on Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then that weekend being like, hey, no, we actually really love you guys, and we want you to do this acoustic exclusive one instead. So how's that sound? And we're like, okay. So yeah, just like
a lot of trust.
In like 4 days having to do a turnaround. And we actually wanted to go back and make sure like, okay, if we're going to like release this and it's not just like a piece of content on the fan store.
Yeah.
Can we like revisit
if you're an artist,
got you,
the mix so that it's like higher quality, because it was, you know, releasing a mix that we think is going to be fan store content is a little bit different than like, okay, this is like the NFT, like we want to make sure this is really good and mastered and sounds high quality. So just that pivot at the last minute, it was scary, but it was also turned out great. I mean,
this is all the new stuff like that can be scary but exciting, right, at the same time. And so you guys had a good experience and great first drop, so that makes things ready to go. Let's do this next one, which is great. I love it.
In terms of the onboarding, I would say too, I guess, like laying out that experience, like I said, we just reached out through Chris with just like the people he knew, and then getting in contact with people in the Discord. And then, like I said, Taco was the first one. We had a video conference with Taco, and just really right away hit it off. He kind of explained it better too, because at that point we were like, what even is this at all?
Yeah.
And so Taco,
what's your real name, Taco?
Who are you? Was that your name at birth?
Oh, it's the best whenever my wife sees like I have conference calls and it's like, oh, I'm meeting with Lasagna and I'm doing this with Taco, and it's like, who's what's going on? I'm like, just, it's fine, don't worry. She's like,
it's not illegal.
This is weird.
Yeah, exactly. And so honestly, right there, it was like, okay, sweet. And then we kind of just kept the ball rolling, started getting introduced to Audra and Keanu, and then just went from there.
Before Gala, when Chris told you about Gala and Gala Music, did you guys research any other like blockchain, Web3 music, NFT type of platforms and stuff like that?
We've been shown stuff like that, but we didn't think about it too much, and
especially not music related.
No.
Like I had looked up stuff personally, like you know, because it's obviously was blowing up and all the different stuff with cryptocurrencies going up and down and all that stuff. So it's like I kind of started familiarize myself with it, but in terms of music, I didn't do a ton of research until we started hearing about Gala.
We would get emails every now and then, but I think maybe what sold us was, you know, David's connection to some of the people involved. But it also felt like, again, like back to your last question, it felt like when we were being onboarded, things were actually being explained to us, as opposed to, well, you should know, or why don't you know?
You should scoot a little bit closer to the microphone. You're fine.
So it felt good to like be able to ask dumb questions and not feel like we're trying to undermine something, or like we're not questioning because we don't believe. We just question because we don't know.
And you're talking about, and I think some of the question that people have is because in crypto Web3, it's all about, again, being decentralized and not having this central party that's there that's able to manage your stuff or put you in a direction that's there.
Yeah.
But when we look at the fact that we're all so new, and this is the same with crypto and onboarding, is that's why Coinbase is so big, right? They make it easy for people to get in there and buy crypto, right? Well, give 99% of the artists out there and say, hey, go put your stuff and make it into an NFT and put it out there. They'll be like, I don't even know what an NFT shirt is. What are you talking about? Right? They're not going to know anything. And so
that's trademark, by the way.
I'm sorry. Can I use that on the podcast? Okay.
See ya.
So Chris is gone. He's out the building. Hey, Chris, before you leave, yes, sir. Should we do we should put together a concert with these guys at the Blackheart building.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
We lost your stage, but yeah.
May 27th. We'll build a new one.
We'll find one.
No, I got you. Got it. That's cool.
If you
Let's do it.
Yeah. Ask us about things artists want for stages, just so you don't build it wrong.
Yeah.
Is that
Good idea.
Play if you.
There was a
ask us how to
stage
build it.
because it was Normandy Guitar. I was telling you
Yeah,
where we were at.
It's a
So
cool place.
yeah, and so they had the stage up there, which I mean, it wasn't much, but so
It works.
yeah. So going back to what we're talking about is that the idea that you get this hardcore side of the crypto universe of like, don't ever have a central being within something that's going to make it hard. But what Gala's done is they've made it really easy for you to understand it, to come in and be able to deploy it and do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that it's great for the onboarding process and bringing people in. And I know a lot of people, they have the question of why Gala over other ones, right?
Yeah.
And I think that talking to you guys, it's kind of what I've gathered is it's more of the fact that they were able to really kind of show you what it can do in that space, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's cool.
Connecting with us and
they're trying to get the fans too, right? Not just it's not just you and putting an NFT on a platform that might get listened to by somebody, that's a basic idea of what people think about. There's so much more to it, right? There's so much more to the marketing side, the which you then have to do everything that's there, and they kind of help out with that, and that's why they're taking their cut that goes on it. It's they're kind of the manager now, but way less involved.
I did feel like the Discord was pretty good about, again, somebody might snipe me from this window right now. I feel like the Discord's not just about the investment, the financial investment, if that makes sense. And I think that's what also helped with everything is it feels like today, at least at the time of this recording, the Discord does enjoy music. Does that make sense?
I hope so.
Like
yes.
It seems like the community.
It's not just the financial side.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it, and it should be, because I think artists deserve to get paid what they're worth. That's just my own opinion.
Yeah.
But I think the actual community around it, for how long I've been in the Discord, is generally congratulatory and likes music and a bunch of different types of music too. It's not just like a platform for just
that gives
folk
me
music or something like that.
That rolls into like the last question from the community that I have is like, how do you feel about sharing your royalties with the fans? Because essentially that's what you're doing, right?
Yeah. I feel like that was kind of part of what drew us to it. Is like, I mean, you're almost in a weird way, the fans are almost like your label in a weird way. Like that's kind of how I remember thinking about it when Taka was explaining it that first time, was it's almost like we're replacing a label with fan involvement and fan support. And it's almost like, it's like a stock exchange of them just investing in us. And then we can do what we love to do, which then just keeps feeding the system. Yeah. Like we're all just feeding each other. They're supporting us financially, and then we can keep giving the music that they are wanting to support financially. Right. And invest in us, and that kind of just grows together. And I think that whole cycle is just awesome. I mean, so far it's been amazing.
So I have a question on, and this is another financial one. It's a weird one, but when I think about an NFT, I can't remember $100. I think they 100 to 150 per song, right? And I think you guys dropped 100. Is that right?
Yeah.
So we talked old school stuff, right? And it's like I'm old school from when I was, cassette tape type old school.
Yeah.
And CDs and burning CDs and that kind of stuff.
Mine was getting a CD player that had the non-skip
switch
on it.
Oh yeah.
I was like, gosh, this is the future.
I'm so high tech, man. It's great.
Exactly.
I could buy an album for, $12, $20, $30, right? And I get the whole album.
Yep.
Now, obviously, I'm not sharing in royalties or anything like that, but that idea that the access to that is much lower. I mean, we have Spotify, you can listen for free, or you listen with ads. So the whole space has changed. Do you feel that price point's a good price point for the ownership side, or do you even care? Or are you just like, I just want to make music and let people listen?
Yeah, I would say we probably lean further into that. Like, we want to make music, but obviously too, we need
more
financial
money.
support
More
to
money
make-
sounds good to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you need money to make music too. I mean, you kind of, I guess, in terms of maybe not just make music. Like, we could obviously just play music whenever we want, but in
if
order
you were
to,
going to
like,
be a musician full time,
sustainably, and and go on tours and all that kind of stuff, the
Music
whole
videos,
spiel,
yeah.
music videos, like, you do need money to do that. And so I think, I would say we want to make music. And so whatever that looks like, I mean, I don't know. We don't have a price point. We're not like, hey, pay us this much or whatever. It's not like we need this goal financially. It's just like, hey, we want to do this as a living and we want to get there. And whatever that looks like, we want to do it.
Right.
You know, aside from selling our bodies, we're not going to do that. But whatever it looks like
We're not
to
going
get
to do
there.
that yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, hey, this is live, man. This is on tape.
If the Gala community wants it.
We've not gotten an offer. We can't
What are my
refuse
beams
yet.
getting me? Okay. I got that part in there.
The term beams now.
Interesting.
Swing.
The Gala polls. Oh.
So yeah, I would say, I don't know. We want to make music. We want to do as a living.
Yeah, I think that answers. I really, honestly, after talking to you guys, I could already imagine that same answer. It seemed like a great price. It sold out. We're good. We're happy.
Yeah.
Like, keep it going that route, right?
I feel like they're gonna have more guidance on that too, because I mean, obviously they are in this space. They're working there. They're doing it. So everyone's new, but they at least have a leg up on us at least. So I think, like I said, that's part of the video chats. It's not just the artist side of it and the creation side, but also like, okay, so this is how this one did.
Yeah.
Where could we go next? Do we want to do a bigger drop with higher quantity, or do we want to do one with maybe a little bit higher price right off the bat? So like stuff like that. Like that's I think cool too, is they kind of have Gala has their with emerging artists, they kind of have their set, like, this is what we usually like to do for the first release, like this price point with this quantity. And then they said after that, we're just going to talk and we're going to figure it out from there. And I think that was cool too, is like, there's a lot of flexibility with like, how's it going? What do we think is going to do well?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think that's been encouraging too.
Cool. Blake, I know you got questions. You want to chime in?
I mean, you've answered so many of them. I mean, I think when we first heard, or when Nate first told me that we were going to be able to get you guys on, I've had some buddies that have released some music on. Of course, in high school, I had my fair share of friends that were SoundCloud rappers, right?
Yeah.
And then, but we had some buddies that, went on to release some music on Spotify and Apple Music and stuff. And I've kind of understood their process. And so it's cool to hear that you guys also have gone through that, and seems to me like you prefer the Gala route compared to the more traditional models in terms of just getting your music on somewhere. Is that correct?
I would say, I think I see it too as another avenue. It's not an all or nothing thing for us at the moment. It could definitely turn into that, especially with the first release. But the reality of it, again, in terms of diversification from a technical perspective, is artists can't, the money is important, and we're going to, I think, prioritize where the fans and the investors, like David's saying, like our label, the people that are investing in us at this point, I think we're going to focus on their needs first. But there's also other parts of the market where, lack of a better term, the normies are, where we still need to facilitate that fan base, because that's where they, Well, so and then I think over time with our social media, we're going to be able to better explain this platform to our fans we already have.
Yeah.
Because we're still figuring out how to tailor that message and explain it to people in a meaningful way.
Right.
Because you don't really know till you're in it. And then once you're in it and you get a part of, you become a part of the community, I think it becomes a little bit more self-evident.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I mean, the majority of people reside in the Web 2 world, right? I mean, 99% of people are on the Spotify's, Apple Music's. Like, that's their go-to route. It's an app on their phone that's,
Yeah.
easy to use. But I do think having, if you guys are able to help use your platform and kind of be that onboarding process to a degree for people learning about the ability of Web3 music and kind of what that brings to the artists, that's what's really going to be a catalyst to moving everyone over. Because I can go tell my buddies, hey, like check out this music platform. Okay. But say if they're a massive Snoop Dogg fan or something and Snoop tells them to, they're probably a lot more willing to. And so as you guys are able to kind of continue to grow your audience, I think that's a really cool thing about Gala Music, is how it's able to kind of feed itself in that way, I think. And I didn't really think about that until you guys were talking today. So
yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, do you guys have anything else to say? We're coming right up on that time frame.
I've talked so much.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're just we're excited. I mean, that's honestly, that's the one word. That's the magic word. We didn't expect it to go so well with that first drop. Completely flipped everything on its head for us in terms of how we were viewing this experience or how we thought it might go.
Yeah.
And so it was like best case scenario. I mean, we're stoked and we can't wait to keep going and releasing more stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
it's awesome.
I love it, guys. Well, I really enjoyed the time. I love the story, and I hope we get to do it again. Well, especially once you get the new track dropping, or multiple tracks and all the other things. So it'll be fun to follow.
Yep.
I'm excited.
And we got to do that live show. That'd be sweet.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
It'd be sweet.
Congratulations, guys. This is cool.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks
Take
for having
care.
us.